The Chicago Bears. An interesting story. Last year, traded away their pick to the Carolina Panthers, and they got a huge return. Gigantic return. They got this year's Carolina Panthers draft pick, which happened to be the #1 overall pick. Now they have one of the toughest choices, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have this choice. I mean, both options seem to be very solid. But what should the Bears do? Now, the two options, quite obvious. Do you stick with Justin Fields or do you pick Caleb Williams with the #1 overall pick? Now, I'm going to be breaking down each side. We're going to be examining what are the possible pros and cons of each decision and what I think they should do. Now, the two schools of thought are basically keep Justin Fields, trade the first overall pick, maybe even use it on Marvin Harrison Jr. But the benefit of trading that first overall pick is the haul that you get in return. Most recently, I believe the first overall pick was traded in 2016 for Jared Goff. The return for that was the uh, two first-round picks in the year 2016 and 2017, and then second-round pick 2016, as well as a third-round pick in 2016 and a third-round pick in 2017. We can infer, based on the prospect availability, which would be Caleb Williams at that #1 overall pick, that there would be a higher demand for that first overall pick, making it reasonable to assume it would take probably 5 top 75 picks, which could be 2 firsts and 2 seconds as well as a third. And now a first and a second, obviously one of those for each would have to be a future. But I believe that would be fair compensation for the first overall pick this year, given the fact that the Bears have the 9th overall pick already. They are in a very good place to make those demands and still be comfortable with where they are at this year's draft. Now the problem is Justin Fields hasn't exactly shown that he's an elite NFL quarterback. It seems like he has the locker room. He truly has the trust of the players around him. DJ Moore loves him. And obviously DJ Moore succeeded, had his best career year with him. But the problem is he hasn't proven himself. And now a lot of people will say, he probably needs a hard reset, or maybe he needs more weapons. And option A, which is keeping Justin Fields, trading the first overall pick for what it's worth, would really allow the Bears to probably get 3 additional players this year in the top 90 picks of the draft that would really play a major factor in the team's success in 2024. And this team isn't terrible. They are really, all things considered, they could have easily been, I wouldn't say a playoff team, but they're fringe. And with more weapons, especially top picks that they would be getting from the #1 overall pick, they could definitely be a playoff team. And I don't think that's very outlandish to say. If the Vikings were scratching the surface, and the Packers made it with first-year quarterback Jordan Love, I think the Bears could easily do that with a more experienced and better weapons around him, Justin Fields. Now, consider Caleb Williams. This guy is considered to be one of the better quarterback prospects we've seen in the last 10 years. He's an incredible improviser, and although he may struggle in an offense with structure, he has proven to be an elite quarterback in college football. As you can see, his improvisation skills are, I mean, they could be comparable to a quarterback like, obviously there's guys like Johnny Manziel in college football, but if it projects to the NFL, could be as good as Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Patrick Mahomes because that's basically saying he's going to be one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time. Um, but he has that potential, and it's hard to deny that. If he projects and he succeeds like he does in college, in the NFL, he will be a great quarterback and most likely top 10, top 5 after year 1 or 2. Um, Now, why should the Bears draft him? It's pretty simple in terms of how the money is going to work out. Re-signing Justin Fields is going to cost a lot, and drafting Caleb Williams is going to be cheaper. At the bottom line, the NFL is a business, running teams is a business, and the path of least resistance for the quarterback position is drafting a quarterback who's good. It costs the least amount of money, and you're locked in on that contract for 4 to 5 years. That window is what creates the Super Bowl opportunities. It creates the playoff teams. You see players like Patrick Mahomes having those incredible teams with the Chiefs still on his rookie contract. And what allowed them to build those teams was the money that was freed up because he wasn't on a new deal. And now with the Bears saving the money, they can go out and spend. They can get big name free agents. They can lock in guys that they want to lock in. They have the money to do that. They have the flexibility, and they'll have it for the next 5 years. If they keep Justin Fields, they're going to have to re-sign him. They're going to have to pay that money. He's probably worth 25 to 35 million. It'd be hard to gauge quite what he's worth because he got hurt this past year. But the year prior he set records for rushing as a quarterback on a per game basis, and it's hard to deny that he doesn't have talent. Justin Fields has talent, but Caleb Williams does too. And if you can't see that, then I mean you're just kind of lying to yourself. I think the Bears would be very smart to do either of these things, um, but it's really just about managing the team's future. And I think the smartest thing to do would be to lock in Caleb as number 1, and at pick 9, if he falls, you go get Rome Odunze. Now going into this next offseason, free agency opens up March 13th, I believe. The Bears are going to be projected to have the third most salary cap in the NFL with $80 million. The only 2 teams higher are the 2 teams directly behind them in the draft at second and third. But the unique position of the Bears allows them to get that quarterback that the Commanders and Patriots most likely will draft in Drake May and Jaden Daniels. And also spend money around them, which is something the Commanders and Patriots can do. But Chicago has that big market aspect that entices free agents a little more. As coupled with the fact that they also have the 9th pick, it helps them a lot more to get ahead of the Commanders. Plus, the number 1 overall pick wasn't even the Bears' pick. The Bears were a decent team. They were 2 games from making the playoffs, I think, maybe even 1. But the large amount of cap space coupled with the fact that they have the number 1 and the number 9 pick, it means that this really is a pivotal offseason for the Bears to spend. Get Caleb Williams, in my opinion. They should get Caleb Williams, get a wide receiver. If Odunze and Neighbors are off the board, get Dallas Turner, maybe Latu. There you have it, folks. Chicago Bears. Hire me. I'm just kidding. Yeah, honestly, I think Caleb Williams is a smart play. It saves money in the long run. I think he's probably even a better player right now than Justin Fields, to be completely honest. I think he provides a very unique opportunity that not a lot of teams get in having the number 1 overall pick when they aren't the worst team in the league. That's something like I think it was 2016 Cowboys got to do. Tony Romo got that ruptured disc in his back. They were awful without him. They got the number 4 overall pick. They drafted Ezekiel Elliott. The rest is history. Obviously, different situation, because the Cowboys didn't have as you know unique of an opportunity as the Bears have this year. But um, in my opinion, it makes the most sense financially. Um, it- it's an upgrade at quarterback. You still have $80 million to spend in free agency, and you still have the ninth overall pick in the draft. And even trading Justin Fields, you'll probably get a second rounder in return, maybe even a fourth rounder as well. Um, and that can be used as whatever you need. There's a very deep pool of talent in this year's draft. There will be very talented players late in the draft. There will be Puka Nakuas. There will be Kyron Williams out there. You got to go and find them. In free agency, it's a lot. There's a lot of players hitting free agency this year. Um, this is a very pivotal season for the Chicago Bears. I honestly, wholeheartedly believe in the next 3 years, if the Bears play it smart this year, they could be in the Super Bowl. Okay? That's how much I believe if Caleb Williams projects to the NFL. That's how much I believe in this plan. I don't see that happening with Justin Fields. It's that simple. At the end of the day, what's the end goal? It's to win Super Bowls. So, what plan gives you the best opportunity to do that? I think it's going with Caleb Williams. I think it's drafting probably best available at 9, whether that's Dallas Turner or whether that's Rome Odunze. We have yet to see. Um, but yeah, go out, spend that cash, get some good players. Um, lock in Jalen Johnson. He might have already been locked up. I'm not completely sure on that. But yeah, the Bears are in a good position. I think either way they go, they're going to be just fine. But it's really about securing the future, and I think the future is bright with Caleb Williams. Thank you for watching. Seriously, thank you. Um, if you don't like and subscribe, I'll come to your house and find you and hit you very hard in the head, and you might be concussed. Goodbye.